official third party.
Well, what if a state came up with a law that said so long as a notary, that's official, that's recognized, certified that you cast your ballot on election day and it was delivered later by whatever means, common carrier or not, what in your theory of the preemptive effect of this statute would preclude that law?
All right, folks, you need to see what just happened in this exchange with Neil Gorsuch, because this goes straight to the heart of election integrity in America.
Official third party.
Well, what if a state came up with a law that said so long as a notary, that's official, that's recognized, certified that you cast your ballot on election day and it was delivered later by whatever means, common carrier or not, what in your theory of the preemptive effect of this statute would preclude that law?
I think 2 points on that, Justice Gorsuch. One, I think, is that
pick your best.
Well, I think one's kind of a point in our favor, and one's kind of a point against our friends, which is that there's a finality of submitting it to an official. And
yeah, it's been notarized by, well, how about a justice of the United States Supreme Court? Is that official enough for you?
I mean, it's pretty official. I don't think it's been submitted.
It's pretty official.
It's pretty good, Your Honor, but I don't think it kind of hits submission to the state.
Okay. Well, I wanted to explore. So that's not submitted to the state, even if it's notarized, an affidavit. It was final on the day of, and somebody brings it into the state offices a week or 3 months later. That doesn't count. But if it goes into the mail, it does. What in the statute? What words in the statute would you have us read that rule into?
Well, I mean, I think, just to make sure I understand, I think that's fine under my friend's view, too, Your Honor. I mean, a notary could be.
I'm asking about your view, counsel.
Sure. So I think.
You're saying that's not fine, and I want to understand what in the federal law preempts that.
Well, I think, number one, I just am not, at least as I'm understanding the hypothetical, it doesn't appear to be submission to the state, Your Honor.
It gets submitted to the state 3 weeks later, just not by common carrier.
Well, I mean, if what you're saying, Your Honor, is that a notary has been deemed a sufficient ballot receiver under state law, then
yes.
I think
then that's okay too. Okay, what if state law? So now you're saying that is okay.
I think it may depend on how, what the level of officiality.
Well, the state says it's official, by God. When a Supreme Court justice or perhaps just a notary says it's official, that's good enough under your. It has to be, I think. And if that's okay, why can't a state say, how about a time-stamped video showing that I voted on election day? Here I am filling out my ballot, and then my brother or maybe some aggregator of ballots brings it in a week or 3 later. And that's got to be okay too, doesn't it?
I think it's still just. I keep coming back, Justice Gorsuch, to this pedigree of submitting it to a state. I mean, I think as a good example.
Well, the state says that's official. State says that's fine. Ballot aggregators are great. And so long as it's a time-stamped video or a notary or maybe a Supreme Court or who knows what, the librarian says you cast it on the day of the election, we're good to go, right?
I mean, I do still have some concern that it has not been submitted.
Counsel. So here's the situation. An attorney is trying to argue a legal theory about mail-in ballots, basically defending looser rules around how ballots are submitted and counted. And Gorsuch, he's not buying vague answers. Not even a little. He starts hitting the attorney with a simple but devastating question. What actually counts as submitting a ballot to the state? Now that might sound technical, but it's not. This is the difference between secure elections and chaos. Gorsuch lays out a hypothetical. He says, okay, what if someone fills out a ballot on election day, gets it notarized, and then it's delivered weeks later? Should that count? And right away, you can see the attorney struggling. Because logically, if the vote was verified, why wouldn't it count? But here's where Gorsuch turns up the pressure. He says, hold on, you're telling me that if a ballot goes through the mail, that's fine. But if it's notarized, even by someone as official as, say, a Supreme Court justice, and delivered later, suddenly that's not okay? That's a huge inconsistency. And instead of giving a clear legal standard, the attorney keeps falling back on this vague idea of submission to the state. No clear definition, no specific statutory language, just hand-waving. And this is exactly the problem, because what Gorsuch is exposing here is something a lot of Americans already suspect. the rules aren't being applied consistently. They're being stretched depending on what's convenient. Then Gorsuch takes it even further, and this is where it really hits. He says, all right, if a notary works, why not a timestamp video? Why not ballot harvesting? Why not someone's brother dropping off a stack of ballots weeks later? If verification is all that matters, then where do you draw the line? And again, the attorney can't give a straight answer. From a common sense, constitutional perspective, this is a big deal, because elections are supposed to have clear, uniform rules, not shifting definitions based on interpretation, not loopholes you could drive a truck through. What Gorsuch is really getting at is this. If you don't have a firm standard for when and how a ballot is officially submitted, then you don't really have election integrity. And let's be honest, this isn't about making voting harder. It's about making sure every legal vote counts, and only legal votes count. There has to be a chain of custody. There has to be accountability. There has to be a moment where a ballot is officially in the hands of the state, not floating around in some gray area for weeks. Because once you lose that, you open the door to doubt. And once people lose confidence in elections, you're not just weakening a process, you're weakening the entire system. And that's why this exchange matters. Gorsuch isn't just nitpicking legal theory. He's forcing the question that nobody on the other side seems willing to answer clearly. What are the rules, and do they actually mean anything? If a ballot can be verified in a dozen different ways, submitted by anyone, at any time, then what's stopping abuse? That's not a partisan question. That's a fundamental one. And until there's a clear, consistent answer, debates like this aren't going away. Because at the end of the day, election integrity isn't optional. It's the foundation of everything else. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think Gorsuch nailed it here? Or is there a better argument the attorney could have made? And if you want more breakdowns like this, hit subscribe. We're just getting started.